a lot of billionaires and successful leaders like Vinod Khosla himself are talking that MBA is not really needed in 2025 and beyond. But what a lot of these leaders are not realizing is, if not an MBA, then what, right? The real struggle of someone in his or her mid-20s in India, Dubai and US is, if not an MBA, then how do I make use of my time? How do I make use of my investment that I am willing to make? And how do I really accelerate my learning? I think it's a legit question, and if I were in your shoes and I were 25, 26 and the billionaires and the CEOs were talking about that MBA is not really needed, then I would be really concerned. Then what, right? So here are the 4 options that I have collated. If I were in your shoes, I could take one of these 4 paths. The first one is extremely bold and a contrarian one, which is go for a solo trip. I know there will be judgments around, Shatakshi, what are you saying? An MBA is so different, but solo trip is so different. But allow me to explain this. An MBA is actually an ego booster over and above just a degree, over and above the placement agency that it is, right? And the network that it provides. So MBA will actually boost your ego, and solo trip will actually boost your confidence and ego as well. And trust me when I say this, a solo trip might actually make you more enriched from within, much more inspired from within. And those who would have traveled solo or would have seen the world would know what I'm trying to say. And when I say solo travel, I do not mean just internationally. It could be anywhere in India, or it could be anywhere from where you're watching this video. So take a year's break. Whatever savings you have had, you do not need to spend everything till the last penny. But this could be an interesting break that you need from your life. A lot of time people want to do an MBA, and I had friends and I know people who were just burnt after working in McKinsey for 2 to 3 years and wanted to actually get a break, and hence they landed on the MBA campus. You could replace that, right? Maybe delay that decision, cancel that decision if you want, but a great idea is to also travel the world. And I know few people who are outliers who are doing that instead of going the traditional path of doing an MBA. The second one is starting your own venture. This is the most ripe time to start your own venture. An MBA will teach you tools and techniques to take more precise decisions. And if you're clear that somewhere down the road I have to start my own venture, then why not now? In fact, I have a friend who started his venture after IIT Bombay, gained fantastic experience, and eventually joined MIT Sloan for his MBA. And he said that in a way, starting his venture also amplified his profile. It's kind of gaming the system, but that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that instead of an MBA and just taking that traditional route, you could start your own venture without funding in a bootstrap manner, in a solopreneurship manner as well, right? So widen your thought horizons, go back to the whiteboard and think and imagine. In fact, I was on the MBA campus when the idea of global governance initiative came to me, and I started it on the campus because the opportunity cost was actually less, because I was not at a job where I had to leave a job. I had already left the job. I was on an MBA campus, had BCG McKinsey offer, and I wanted to make use of the rest of my time during my MBA campus. So that's another second alternative that you can pick. The third one is pivoting your career. Once again, people think that MBA is the right window through which I will get the next best job, and it's such a flawed way of thinking. If you are at X position, maybe after an MBA you can go to Z, right? But there is a Y in between. Why don't you experiment and see, can you go from X to Y first without an MBA? And after that, if you feel like, you can still do an MBA. So I'll take my own example. At an age of 24, when I was working in a private e-commerce venture, I moved from private sector to Government of India for an advisor role. Eventually, I was promoted to a managerial role as well. And I was able to do that without an MBA. And it's not impossible. A lot of people think that only when I'll do my MBA from IIM Ahmedabad, INSEAD, ISB, etc., that's only when I will be able to pivot. A is pivoting, B is maybe finding a better role in the same industry. So you do not need to suddenly do an MBA just because the world is doing an MBA or your friends are doing an MBA. Try to get a change of role, try to get a change of sector, try to get a change of a company, and see how is that change really treating you. it's true that people are questioning the value of an MBA, and in such times, if I were you, I would certainly delay that decision, because the more experience you have, the better comes the rationality, the better comes the maturity, and you're able to take better decisions in life as well. The fourth alternative are certification courses which are credible. So, for example, we at Global Governance Initiative run GGI MBA Scholars Program, whereby we have had plenty of people who are pre-MBA scholars, chartered accountant, medical doctors, army veterans, product managers, and a lot of them were actually able to pivot into government development consulting and also into management consulting, and later on they joined NCR, they joined London School of Business. A lot of them have joined ISB, and I think maybe me being an alum from ISB kind of adds to that narrative, and so on and so forth. Few have joined Wharton as well. But what that did was, GGI was able to act as a midway. Remember that X, Y, and Z, they were in the same job, and they used GGI as a Y to move towards another organization if needed, and then move towards MBA, which was Z. And of course, I'm sure that there will be other organizations out there as well. This is not me trying to pitch GGI, to be very frank, and really hope that there are other alternatives out there as well. But what I'm trying to largely say that, and first and foremost, I want to be very clear, GGI would not be what it is today had it not been without the support of BCG India Chairman Janmejaya Sinha, Martin Reeves, BCG US Chairman Rajat Gupta, and 115 plus employment partners. I want to make sure that people who have supported me and the organization since day one are given due credit. But coming back, what I want to do is I want to widen your thought horizon, and by no means I want to bash an MBA. I have done an MBA myself, and I know there is relevance to the degree. Having said that, I did an MBA in 2018. In today's changing geopolitical world, in today's AI times, things are changing in a much more faster fashion than we all can collectively imagine, right? So here is me sharing this video with all of you, because I know it's easier for an entrepreneur or a business person to say that MBA is not relevant without sharing the alternatives, right? What all can you do if not an MBA? So that's the official wrap up. If you're preparing for CAT, GMAT, I wish you all the best. Take risks in life. Do not settle for mediocrity. Your 20s are the time where you want to take bold bets, because that's the only way you can thrive and survive in the world. If you're struggling, write to me on LinkedIn, write to me on Instagram. I'll try my best to support all of you as much as possible. If this video was helpful, share it with your friends. We have a huge list of videos on MBA, management consulting, public policy, etc. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Ciao.